ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe uliwewa, mwana wa uliwewa, ingombe uliwewa, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe uliwewa, ingombe uliwewa, ingombe uliwewa, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe shombo maalum ni shombo, ni shombo, shombo maalum ni shombo, ulichingo umukongo, shombo maalum ni shombo, shombo maalum ni shombo, shombo maalum ni shombo, ulikingo olukongo, oliwewo, ingombe oliwewo, ingombe oliwewo, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe oliwewo, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe jenangani mbaro, ingombe mlai wa mama, ingombe shombo maalum ni shombo, ni shombo, shombo maalum ni shombo, ulichingo umukongo, shombo maalum ni shombo, shombo maalum ni shombo, shombo maalum ni shombo, ulichinga umukongo. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was a chick. Hallelujah, traditional song, Shombo Maalum. Okay? Another one? Another one? Ready? Kalotona makapapa, asiweni. Kalotona makapapa, kalotona makapapa, kalotona makapapa, onikere yo papa, onikere yo papa, onikere yo papa, yes. Onikere yo papa, kalotona makapapa, yes, onikere, kalotona makapapa, onikere yo papa, onikere yo papa, yes. Onikere yo papa, yes. Onikere yo papa, kalotona makapapa, kalotona makapapa, kalotona makapapa, kalotona makapapa, onikere yo papa, 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 Onikere yo papa. Onikere yo papa. Onikere yo papa. Kalotona maka papa. Orotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Onikere yo 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 papa. Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Onikere yo papa. Onikere yo mama. Onikere yo papa. 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 Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Kalotona maka papa. Onikere yo papa. Onikere yo mama. Onikere yo papa. Onikere yo mama. Yes, Onikere yo papa. Enyariti, yes, like that. A song from Luo land and Tesoland, Carloto Namakapapa. Sung by Kalro National Staff Choir. Warming up for a theme song. Kilimo ni msingi. Ladies and gentlemen, ask it.
shetani yupo, anavizia vizia. Bila nguvu yako Mungu, hatutafanikiwa. Tegemeo letu linabaki kwako wewe. Tumaini letu kwako Bwana, tegemeo letu wewe. Aliye juu twakutegemea, peke yako ndiwe nguvu yetu wewe. Tumaini letu kwako Bwana, tegemeo letu wewe. Aliye juu twakutegemea, peke yako wewe Mungu wetu, wewe Mungu wetu. Katika maisha yetu tunapitia magumu, wenyewe hatuwezi, tunajikongoja bure. Bila nguvu yako Mungu, hatutafanikiwa. Tegemeo letu linabaki kwako wewe. Tumaini letu kwako Bwana, tegemeo letu wewe. Aliye juu twakutegemea, peke yako ndiwe nguvu yetu wewe. Tumaini letu kwako Bwana, tegemeo letu wewe. Aliye juu twakutegemea, peke yako wewe Mungu wetu, wewe Mungu wetu. Kwenye familia zetu migogoro inazidi, hakuna wa kujishusha, malumbano kila siku. Bila pendo lako Mungu, hatutafanikiwa. Tegemeo letu linabaki kwako wewe.
Tazama uchumi wetu, madeni yanatuzidi, biashara nazo ngumu, ajira zimeyeyuka. Bila neema zako Mungu, hatutafanikiwa. Tegemeo letu linabaki kwako wewe, tumaini letu kwako Bwana. Tegemeo letu wewe, aliye juu twakutegemea, peke yako ndiwe nguvu yetu wewe, tumaini letu kwako Bwana. Tegemeo letu wewe, aliye juu twakutegemea, peke yako wewe Mungu wetu, wewe Mungu wetu.
If we could kindly stand up, please, so that we can welcome the PS. Thank you very much. Welcome our PS. We will remain standing for the national anthem and the East African anthem. Media team, please.
Mungu nguvu yetu, eleze baraka kwetu, agiliwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na mustawi. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
We remain standing for a word of prayer.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we honor you this morning. We bless your holy name. We thank you, God, for the gift of life. Thank you, Jehovah God, even for bringing us to this day that we've planned for a while. And we thank you for this second Kalro Scientific Conference and Innovation Expo. As we begin, we ask that, Lord, you'd go ahead of us, guide us, instruct us in all our interactions, oh God. We submit to your counsel, we submit to your leadership. Every person who's traveled, we thank you for travels that have been made safely, for interactions that will be done safely. Every word that will be spoken, let it be spoken to the glory of your name. And Lord, let wisdom prevail, Lord, and the outcome of this conference, Lord, will bear fruit for your kingdom. We honor you, Lord, and we bless you. Thank you for all our partners. Thank you for all the delegates and all who have supported this event. God, may you bless them even in the work that they do. We honor you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Kindly be seated. Thank you very much, Dr. Frida, for opening for us with a word of prayer. Our PS, Dr. Kiprono Rono, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Agriculture in the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, as our chief guest today. Most welcome. Dr. Thuo Mathenge, the Chairman of Kalro Board of Management, our Director General, Dr. Patrick Etienne, distinguished Director Generals and representatives from the CGIR centers, representatives from the government ministries, our development partners, both national and regional, our research scientists, innovators, members of the farming community, students and young professionals, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a happy morning. We are happy to host you as Kalro. I take this opportunity to welcome you to our second Kalro conference and an innovation expo. My name is Aris Morage. I'm the Deputy Director General in charge of crops research, and I'll be hosting you this morning. I'll be the MC this morning. Karibuni sana. Our theme for this year's conference is innovations for sustainable agriculture, agri-food systems, climate change resilience, and improved livelihood. Our chief guest, we are happy to host you, and we are always honored to have you here. And as our leader, your presence here today is a great encouragement to our scientists and a clear demonstration that you are committed to research and innovation as a catalyst for transforming agricultural sector. As you are aware, chief guest, that globally, agriculture is facing unprecedented challenges, which also present us with opportunities for innovation. And this conference is here to respond to that challenge. Over the next 5 days, this venue will be a vibrant marketplace of ideas, a hub of innovations, and a meeting point for researchers, policymakers, development partners, private sector, farmers, and students. And I believe they are all represented here in this room. It will be an exciting and engaging week filled with learning, networking, knowledge exchange, and discovery. We are particularly proud to report that over 300 scientific papers will be presented through plenary sessions and also through breakout sessions. Beyond these presentations of scientific papers, our participants will have a chance and opportunity to visit our Innovation Expo, which is already prepared out there by Kalro and its partners, where we will be showcasing our cutting-edge technologies, products, and services. We are having over 30 exhibitors there on the site. And on top of that, this conference this year features a series of side events which has been organized by our partners who are present today. This will be providing us an additional platform for dialogue, for peer learning, for collaboration, and also for sharing experiences within Kenya and beyond. We are also privileged to have distinguished guest speakers and panelists who will be challenging us to think differently, to inspire us how to engage and help us to position the agricultural sector in future. We are equally delighted to welcome our students and young professionals who are our next generation of innovators. They are the next generation of researchers, entrepreneurs, and farmers. We hope that this conference will inspire everyone, will help us even dream bigger, think deeper, and contribute boldly to shaping the future of agriculture. What makes this gathering truly special is the diversity of participants represented here today. We are joined by leaders of government, we are joined by research institutions, the academia, development organizations, private sector, farmers, and our international partners. Your presence here today reflects a shared commitment for ensuring that science and innovation continue to drive Kenya's agricultural transformation agenda. So our chief guest, we are most welcome to this conference where we'll be showcasing our scientific achievement, these are the pathways of food and nutrition security, which I believe is the focus of our ministry. So thank you very much. I welcome all of you. Let's journey together the next 5 days. Let us challenge each other, ask bold questions, and learn from each other so that we can be able to bring change and bring improve livelihood of our country. Asanteni sana. Once again, on behalf of Kalro, I warmly welcome you to this second scientific conference. Before I proceed and invite our DG to give us an opening remark, I'll request the Kalro choir to play one song just to welcome our guest. Kindly, the choir, please, if you are ready, you can give us one song. As they are preparing, I request you to greet your neighbor and welcome them to this second Kalro and scientific conference. Because we will not have another chance, I know we will interact during break. Choir, please proceed.
Aha. Kalro. What am I saying? Kalro. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. Aha. Today the Kalro Choir is going to present to you a short poem in a dramatized skit, highlighting the importance of collaboration between seasoned farmers and innovative scientists and climate-smart technologies. The root of the matter, bridging the gap between traditional farming and modern agriculture. We have Wakamau here, a veteran, highly experienced farmer, practical, but slightly skeptical of lab coats, and very hardworking. We have Dr. Wepukulu, a young, enthusiastic scientist, a researcher, brilliant in data and genetics, but initially out of touch with the hands-on. Relax, enjoy, and learn.
Siku hizi haieleweki. Kali yake nyota ya kwanza, na hata hizi nyota zinachanganya. Hey, mahindi yangu imetani mahindi yangu imetani yero. Oi, kaimwadhani.
Habari yako Kamau? Vile naona hii mchanga yako haiko sawa, inahitaji nitrogen.
Kijana yangu, hii shamba nimelima miaka 30 na baba yangu amekuwa akilima. Ati unasema nini?
Nitrogen.
Matorojeni nini?
Lakini Wakamau, hii sayansi ni muhimu. Tuko na mbegu.
A classic problem, isn't it? The seasoned wisdom of the soil meeting the shiny tools of the lab. But science is just a silo. It's just a story in the silo. To make it real, they need to join forces to make it real.
Lakini Wakamau, hii sayansi ni muhimu. Tuko na mbegu ambazo zinaweza stahimili, kama vile ukamezi, Zijaribu ili usije poteza huu msimu.
Unasema nini? Unajua nimekuwa nikilima nikibadilisha. Unataka kusema hiyo mbegu yako nikipanda, unataka kusema nikipanda bila hiyo fertilizer zenyu za bei itakuwa mzuri?
Sasa nimekuwa naangalia hii kompyuta yangu sana kuliko huo mchanga wako. Wacha tuunganishe sayansi yangu na ukulima ya baba yako tuone matokeo.
Sasa hapo umeongea. Tuangalie hiyo mbegu yako ya sayansi, lakini tutumie mbolea yangu organic. Sasa tutapanda yako hiyo mbegu yako ya sayansi tupande hapa na yangu tupande hapa. Tuone ni gani itafanya mzuri. Hapo umeongea.
Sawa.
Unajua ukiona eka zako zinameremeta hivi na mahindi mezaa 3-4 unapiga unaona hii sayansi imefanya kazi. Hata nimeona, wacha tu kuangalia wadudu, nimepata mazao maradufu. Ukiona hivyo kama mkulima hata jasho inaisha.
Aha. And that is the true root of modern agriculture. Science provides tools, but the farmer provides the soul. When they work hand in hand, we just don't grow food. We grow a sustainable future. Listen, the only thing to do with good advice is to pass it on. It is never of any use to anyone's self. Today, and the whole of this week, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization is passing on some good advice. That is innovative agriculture, transforming lives. Ladies and gentlemen, we need not be reminded that agriculture remains the mainstay of Kenya's economy and the only source of livelihoods for the people in the rural areas. And it is likely to be so for many, many years to come. We rest our case.
Mbinu mpya za ukulima ili tupate mazao bora. Kilimo ni msingi, tena ni nguzo ya uchumi wa Kenya. Daima tuzingatie mbinu mpya za ukulima ili tupate mazao bora. Maonyesho ya kilimo ya kilimo yanainua bidii ya wakulima. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua uchumi wetu. Wizara ya Kilimo yaelimisha wananchi wa Kenya katika kuimarisha ukulima kote nchini ili tupate mazao bora. Wizara ya Kilimo yaelimisha wananchi wa Kenya katika kuimarisha ukulima kote nchini ili tupate mazao bora. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua taifa letu. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua bidii ya wakulima. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua uchumi wetu. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua taifa letu. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua bidii ya wakulima. Maonyesho ya kilimo yanainua uchumi wetu. Tukuze sayansi, teknolojia kwa ukulima.
About kilimo, that's a challenge for us to imarishe kilimo Kenya. Asanteni sana, and I encourage you to be lively. You see the way they are lively? Please be lively so that you don't feel very cold, because this room is already very cold. So that we can feel at home in Kalro, I want now to invite my Director General, Dr. Ketiem, so that he can give his welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Alice. Our chief guest today, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Agriculture and Livestock, Dr. Kiprono Rono, Chairman, Board of Management, and the members of the board, led by Dr. Tua Madenge, the representatives from the CG centers, I think were here today, the members of Research Partners International, our colleague CEOs who are here. Thank you. Distinguished scientists and innovators, development partners, the private sector leaders, the farmers, the fourth estate. Good morning. So on behalf of Kalro family, I want to take this opportunity to warmly welcome you to Kalro, and specifically to this second Kalro Scientific Conference and Expo 2026. Indeed, we are very delighted to host you today and the entire week just to discuss, to share, to reflect, and more so to celebrate the many innovations that are currently shaping the current and the future agricultural sector. This conference is taking place at a time when this country is seeking practical solutions to scale farm productivity, to manage the climatic shocks, to reduce the cost of production, to manage post-harvest losses, and many others. As an institution, we will continue to deliver on our mandate to achieve caste and our responsibilities, particularly through knowledge generation, development and dissemination of technologies and innovations that transforms the cultural landscape, and to ensure that food security and nutrition, incomes, and community resilience are achieved. Our chief guest, it's really unfortunate if listening from the presentation from our choir, the reality in the farms is different from what is happening in the research. They seem to be exist huge gaps between research outputs and what majority of our farmers practically achieves on a day-to-day basis, particularly in terms of the yield. Therefore, this conference is well designed today to just reflect on the challenges you'll be able to see there, and also to collectively find opportunities to bridge that particular gap. Kalro is indeed committed to support moving forward some of the research outputs, technologies, and innovations outside our shelves, outside our labs, to the farmer fields, so that we can be able to create and make life change. Distinguished guests, as I say, this conference is quite intentional on its roadmap. We want to bring together, we are bringing together into one space the farmers, the scientists, the policymakers, the private sector, the innovators, the agricultural actors, so that we can be able to reflect, discuss, and if possibly by the end of the week, we should be able to unlock some of those challenges. I look forward for that opportunity, so that we can be able to move the wheels of research to the next stage. Chief guest, during the week, we have 17 sub-thematic areas that we cover comfortably, that cuts across crops, livestock, soils, biotechnology, issues of climate change, digital agriculture, that will be discussed during the conference. We have prepared 5 keynote speeches, keynote papers from our renowned scholars, so that they can contextualize the realities. And we are prepared to move outside the box. I'm told outside the box, and I think this is the spirit during this conference, that we as scientists, we are prepared to move outside the labs, to think what the reality is outside there. During the conference, which is taking place physically and also virtually, our teams across Kalro are already following, and scientific community are following. We will be presenting close to 325 research outputs from the different thematic areas. That is good, incredibly good progress. But papers presented alone would not make change. During this week too, we have 48 exhibitors that we want all the participants to also have an opportunity to visit. We have prepared 8 tailor-made side events to discuss specific areas of concern. Specific areas of concern. One of these side events is just to discuss it cuts across livestock and it cuts across crops. Why are we having that research curve? Why are we having innovations in, for example, varieties, and it's not getting to the farmers? And we are prepared to discuss that in some of those side events. And more so, we will be witnessing 3 business sections where we want to, the private sector will have identified a business. And over the last 1 month, we've been having discussion with some innovators who want to scale some of the technologies. During this conference, our chief guest, 3 business deals will be witnessed during this conference. In this conference, every paper presented, technology exhibited, that breakout discussions, we will be asking and we need answers. And one of the things is, does this technology, does this research output works for the farmer? And I think that is one of the pillars of our questions. Does it work for the farmer? Can it be scaled? Is it sustainable? Those overriding questions will be taking place during the conference. This is why the Innovation Expo is not a side show. It is where science becomes tangible, where we can be able to see, we can be able to touch, and we can be able to interrogate what our scientists have built over time. So I will ask all our participants and our partners that we spare some time to listen, possibly to the scientist, and not only listen, but to ask hard questions. Does it work? Is it working for the farmer? Where is it happening? And our scientists are prepared to answer all those specific questions. So, Kalro continues to strive as an organization so that we can be able to contribute to the change happening in the agricultural landscape through research. I want to highlight some of our critical achievements over time and which continue to be the pillars for our farming community. One, we've had an expanded soil fertility maps. Productivity is a question of soil. We must start from the soil. So Kalro has done extremely well to expand and be able to explain our soil fertility profiles, giving counties, giving extension workers, giving farmers the granular data to make better decisions for tomorrow, what to plant and where. Secondly, we have also strengthened our disease surveillance, which are very critical to the farmers. And as I say, we are now more focused on the farmer. So if the farmer gets good understanding about soils, gets good understanding about the seeds, which we've extremely managed to ensure that we get the right seed at the right location ecosystem, then if issues of diseases becomes paramount. So Kalro have managed to ensure that surveillance, protecting the crops and the livestock assets, being a primary well of our Kenya households. Thirdly, we managed to provide sufficient extension materials, and we are moving these extension materials from our shelves to the farming community. It's a question of, is it available? And more so, we have even moved to ensure some of these extension materials we can be able to interpret into the local language, be it be. And that shows our resilience and our energy to ensure that we move research to practical. We have also deepened our partnerships with counties, universities, international institutions. This is because we want to ensure we have a collective synergies in terms of transforming the agricultural sector. Chief guests, ladies and gentlemen, going forward, I think Kalro and going to the future, Kalro will invest more on the practical research, addressing the pressing needs of our farmers and stakeholders. First, we want technologies that can be scaled. The measure of success is not about numbers of technology. It's a question of how many of these technologies can be scaled to create wealth. So going forward, that could be one of our priority areas. Secondly, we want to ensure research becomes meaningful. We want to ensure that research becomes meaningful. We will be conducting research which is driven by the needs of ordinary farmer. Research that are climate resilient, that could be able to contribute to the food security and nutrition, and more so connect to the market and the aspirations of many young entrepreneurs. We are told the ordinary farmer currently is 60 years old. So Kalro is investing on the young population. How well could we tap? How well can we invite? How well could we encourage the young people to enjoy in agriculture? So in that space, we will be making, embracing technology, the AI, so that the young people can find business in agriculture. Thirdly, we want to ensure science that can speak. It's not a science we want science that can speak. Kalro will strive to communicate research outputs so that it can accelerate transformation. We will present evidence wherever we do in the various thematic areas. We will present data, and I'm told we must get the data so that we build our acumen. When we say we have a problem, it will be driven by data and evidence, but more so it will be practical, so that practical outputs. So our institution, your chief guest, we are entrusted with a lot of partners, and honestly, this morning we had the opportunity to host the more than 15 CG centers, director generals who had a meeting here in Nairobi. And they expressed their commitment to support research, to support Kalro. So we want to assure you that we will remain a trusted institution where what we say in terms of data would mean reality. I want to close by saying, your chief guest, that Kenya's agricultural potential remains huge. It is a promise for many Kenyans. We are told 80% of our ordinary people rely on agriculture. We want to work with this promise, that it is not a promise, but research would be part and parcel of that promise. It is a fact that waiting to be fully realized, and Kalro will exist to accelerate and provide the necessary pillars required. Chief Guest, we sincerely thank the ministry for the normal support to research and believing in Kalro. Many of the innovations today, many of the small coins earned by the farmers, they can attest that it originated from Kalro. And we want to thank the ministry for supporting that agricultural agenda and supporting our research. And we commit that we will do our best to be a pillar in the ministry. We hope that the next 4 days in the plenary rooms, in the breakout rooms, along the Expo walkways, over coffee, over lunch, we will be asking the hard questions, forging stronger partnerships, and be able to commit to a bolder action. Let the science speak, and we can collectively make a difference. It will be a difference because we have a purpose and we are committed to make that relevant change. Once more, we want to invite you, and on behalf of everybody in the Kalro family, our scientists who have done tremendous job, we have said we will listen to the scientists. Most often we get underreported. Sometimes we enjoy the technology, but we forget the driver of the technology. So in this week, we are opening the doors to understand what it takes to produce a technology. And some of the technologies, our peers, that has transformed the landscape of food security is our Nyota variety called Nyota. Sometimes you call Kalro, when you say Nyota, it's like saying Karo. And we are happy to be associated with those good technologies that are making the lives of ordinary Kenyans in a better position. Thank you very much. And once more, Chief Guest, we are very grateful for honoring our invitation. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, our DG. That's not a good clap for our DG. Thank you so much. So, Chief Guest, we are going to have a few speeches just to appreciate how we've been working with our partners. But it's just good to let you know that this conference is a hybrid, so we have some people who are following online, and we're also live on YouTube, so we have a wide coverage in the next 5 days. This conference was also made possible by many sponsors, some of them are in this room, and I may not be able to mention all of you, but I know you have received a lot of support from the ministry through the NAFCDP and FSRP projects, and many other partners, the CGIRs. I may not mention all of you, but we really appreciate you, all of you. So to set the scene, we've been working a lot with our national partners and our international partners. I'll just request just a few to speak on behalf of the entire group. So to start us off, I want to invite the CEO of the Kenya Veterinary Board, Dr. Mary Agutu, so she can say a few words. Karibu sana, madam.
Thank you so much, Chief Guest and all guests. I want to ride on the protocols that were already established. I am Dr. Mary Agutu, CEO Kenya Veterinary Board. I want to stand here to represent all the other CEOs in the Ministry of Agriculture in congratulating and celebrating with Kalro for their great achievement on this second Kalro Scientific Conference and Innovation Expo with the theme Innovation for Sustainability, Sustainable Agri-food Systems, Climate Change, Resilience, and Improved Livelihoods. We at the Ministry, all the state departments, collectively in a whole government approach, want to work together with Kalro to transform agriculture. We want solutions that are driven by the questions the farmers are asking, and collaboratively with research-based evidence, implement those innovations and also regulate the use of those innovations. The purpose is to protect the farmers, protect the public towards getting safe food for our citizens and for the whole world. So we wish to stand here to congratulate the Kalro as well as the ministry. And Chief Guest, thank you for coming. With that, I want to ask you to enjoy your stay here, kindly participate, ask questions, and be well informed as you leave Kalro after 1 week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for the warm welcome. As I said, we've been working a lot with the CGIR, and the DG has already mentioned we had a big delegation today from the CGIR board, represented by their Director Generals. And we have one representative who was left behind to give a thank you, Dr. Siboniso Moyo. She's the Deputy Director General of the International Livestock Institute, International Livestock Research Institute, and she's in charge of research and impact. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. To our chief guests, DG Kalro, all protocols observed. Please allow me to stand on the protocols already established. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure this morning to be afforded this opportunity to wear the hat of the CGIR, representing my Director General, Professor Apollone Chikeng, and the CGR at large. Allow me to congratulate Kalro for convening this important gathering under the theme Innovations for Sustainable Agri-Food Systems, Climate Change Resilience, and Improved Livelihoods. This conference provides a valuable platform for scientists, policymakers, development partners, private sector actors, and farmers to collectively explore solutions that will transform Kenya's agricultural sector. CGR greatly values this partnership, long-standing partnership with Kalro and the government and the people of Kenya. The partnership between CGR and Kenya's National Agricultural Research System spans more than 5 decades. Over the years, CGR centers and Kalro, together with its predecessor institutions, have worked side by side to develop and scale innovations in crop improvement, livestock development, animal health, climate smart agriculture, natural resource management, food systems transformation, and policy research. This long-standing collaboration has contributed significantly to Kenya's agricultural transformation and continues to support the country's food security, climate resilience, and economic development goals. Kalro remains one of CGR's most important strategic partners in Africa. Together, we have demonstrated how strong national and international research partnerships can translate science into tangible benefits for farmers, for pastoralists, consumers, and policymakers. Your continued openness, Kenya, to collaborate with CGR centers demonstrates Kenya's commitment to evidence-driven development. The DG has already alluded to the need to undertake science that is side by side with farmers to deliver impact. He has said we need science that speaks. That's a tweetable statement, DG, which we will hold. CGR is the world's largest publicly funded agricultural research partnership, operating in more than 80 countries with over 10,000 staff and partnering with 3,000 partners worldwide. Kenya occupies a unique place within the CGR system, hosting the headquarters of 2 CGR centers, the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, and the Center for International Forestry Research and World Agroforest, CIFOR-ICRAF. Kenya also serves as a regional hub for several other CGR centers, and my colleagues are in the room here. We've been working in partnership with national institutions such as Kalro to advance agricultural transformation, food security, climate resilience, and sustainable livelihoods. Our collective work aligns with Kenya's agricultural sector transformation growth strategy, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and the country's climate and food security goals. As the CGR, we have a working framework around the Portfolio 2025, which is our strategy for 2025 to 2030. It is organized around 8 science programs, 1 science program for scaling, for impact. It's also having 3 accelerators: gender, capacity development, data, and the gene banks. All this helps us to contribute to achieving the set goals for the world towards transformation of agri-food systems. I would like to look into the future. CGR remains committed to deepening its partnership with Kalro, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, the county governments, universities, farmers, and the private sector. As we move forward, let us remain guided by a simple but powerful science that achieves its highest value when it improves lives, when it creates jobs, when it strengthens resilience and expands opportunities, particularly for farmers that we serve, and pastoralists, women and youth, who form the backbone of Kenya's agri-food systems. Secondly, together we can accelerate the creation and adoption of innovations, partnering with others to ensure that those solutions and innovations are deployed at scale. Let us come together to build the next generation of scientists by offering opportunities that they come to our organizations for attachment as part of their MSc or PhD studies. Fourthly, let us come together for joint resource mobilization. I'm sure the DG and other DGs will agree with me. In this post-aid era where funding science and research is dwindling, we need to come with a new architecture on how science continues to be funded. So allow me to conclude by expressing our sincere appreciation to Kalro, the Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development, and the government and the people of Kenya for their continued partnership, support, and leadership. Last year, this partnership came to fore when we together hosted the first ever CGR Science Week here in Nairobi. It was indeed a great a great success. The world noticed, and we continue to see that call for better and more collaboration between national and international organizations. We are proud to stand alongside you in advancing science, innovation, and agricultural transformation in Kenya. Several centers are here in this room, and we'll also be showing some exhibitions and convening some site sessions. So together we stand in our commitment to support your vision and your mission. I wish you all fruitful deliberations and a successful conference. I also want to borrow from the DG again, let the science speak this week, walking side by side with farmers. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moyo, for that powerful speech. And indeed, CGIR is one of our greatest partners. And to represent the CGIR that deals with crops, I will invite Sophia Tesfacion. She's the Regional Director in Africa of the International Rice Research Institute. Karibu sana, Sophia.
Asante sana. Excellencies, farmers, youth, scientists, private sectors, and other partners, all protocols observed. It's great to be here. It's great to see this room full of excited participants. So, as was said, I'm the Regional Director for International Rice Research Institute in Africa, and I'm new to that role. It also represents where the CGR is going. I'm not a scientist. My background is technology transfer, connecting science to value chain and the farmers. So I am bringing that and representing that aspect of CGR. This is specifically to rice. But in general, it's something that the CGR is looking at much more strongly right now. And as IRI, we have worked with Kalro for a long time, especially a variety called Komboka, a rice variety which is known and has great adoption in the country. In Tana River, for example, it has 90% of adoption. But there's more to do. And we've also heard, I heard his also talk about the target of rice production in the country and the importance of reducing Kenya's import bill. So we would greatly be a partner in that and see how we can work together with the relevant players to meet that target. And in general, also looking at crops as a system. I think we are gone are the days where we can work with each crop and each value chain. There's all these connections. So we're hoping to bring that also, looking at systems in terms of specific crop. But most importantly, looking at innovations to solve practical solutions and having a plan to transfer the technologies to reach the farmers. So I'm not going to say any more, but I encourage everybody to have that outlook in terms of the impact, looking at what Kenya's government is trying to achieve, and look at how science can achieve that. So looking forward to the week and take advantage of all the expertise and the exciting exhibitions that you can see. All the best.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Chief guest, if you recall, we were with Sophia just a few weeks ago when we were launching the factory in Mwea, because they've been supporting us very much in terms of rice. Now, Chief guest, allow me, with your permission, because we want to mentor young people, we want to have a future, we don't want to be to kill research, so we are trying to mentor our students. So we have one student from Roresho Secondary, and they had a presentation. I don't know whether Harriet, you are still in the room. We can give you a yes, kindly come so that you can give that quick presentation. This is just a way to show that we are trying to mentor our future so that our children feel encouraged to do research. Karibu, Rachel. This is who? Harriet. Harriet, yes.
Thank you. If you may give me time, I'm just waiting for the PowerPoints to be ready. Imagine waking up into the reality that 30% of our entire food basket is being thrown into the dustbin. This is food that never reaches a single mouth, yet it bleeds 72 billion shillings from our national budget and granaries every year. In a world that produces enough for everyone, this isn't just a loss, it's a crisis I call the echoes of hunger. I wrote my book, Silencing Echoes of Hunger, to shift the narrative. For too long, we have been looking at the empty plate, not knowing that the real irony, the real danger, is that of the full plate with holes. Honorable guests, distinguished delegates and members of Kalro scientific community, my name is Harriet Blessing. I am a grade 10 student from Rolesho Senior School. I'm a young scientist. I'm a young author of 2 books titled Silencing Echoes of Hunger and Sovereignty of Farmers. Above all, I work for one simple goal: zero hunger and food for all. My review, documented in my manuscript, Silencing Echoes of Hunger, identifies a critical challenge in our current food security strategies. While we focus heavily in production to fill the empty plates, we often forget something I call the full plate with holes. These are holes of post-harvest loss in the farms, losses in the marketplaces, and wastage in the dining tables. I will start with our first problem. Globally, nearly 1/3 of food produced for human consumption is either lost or wasted before consumption. Food loss and waste has become one of the most serious challenges affecting food security, climate resilience, agri-food system, livelihoods, and economic development. In Kenya, my review of World Resource Institute Africa and UNEP Food Waste Index, 40% is lost in the dining tables, 35% is lost in post-harvest loss, and 25% is lost in the marketplaces. Let us start with our first problem, in the marketplaces. Based on my review conducted through a feasibility test, lack of cooling infrastructures forces farmers into gulls, causing our mama mbogas to lose 10% of their stock to rapid rotting. To fix this, I propose building solar-powered cooling rooms in these markets to prevent wastage, which I thank the government and also our president for the modern market. So I would also like to imagine our market with these cooling rooms. It will help our farmers and also our retailers for not selling their produce in a throwaway price. Moving down to the value chain where we face the dining table echoes. Based on my review, World Resource Institute Africa and UNEP Food Waste Index, every individual Kenyan, me and you, waste 99 to 100 kilograms of food every year. Past literature have completely ignored this plate waste. To fix this, I propose using the Target Measure Act framework. To solve this consumer crisis, I propose implementation of dustbin in school that will have the stickers showing the amount and percentage of food wasted. Psychologically and gradually, the students are going to change their behavior, leading to the reduction of food wastage. Alongside distributing small portion plates in schools that will help in avoidance of overserving and also food waste. Moving down to the value chain where we face the post-harvest loss, Based on my review, in Kenya, up to 36% of maize and 23% of potatoes are lost due to poor harvesting methods and poor storage. High-value crops such as mangoes, up to 56%, and avocados, up to 35%, are lost due to poor harvesting methods and lack of inefficient cooling infrastructures. To fix this, I propose deploying locally available plucking tools in farms that will help to avoid marks which lower their shelf life more than a week. So deploying these specialized tools in these farms using locally available materials are going to increase the shelf life of these perishable crops more than 2 weeks. In conclusion, data proves that fixing these three gaps are going to finish the food waste and waste in Kenya by half by 2030, and which can feed 7 million people. Finally, I would like to show my deepest gratitude and also acknowledgement for the Kalro committee, my mentors, and my parents for this prestigious platform. Thank you.
I think she needs a very big clap. Thank you so much. That was powerful. That was very, very powerful. Asante sana. I think that is really, really powerful, and you can see we have the future. When you see such children who are talking science and talking agriculture, then it means at least our future is bright. And it's a big challenge for us as scientists, as development partners. Thank you so much, Harriet. That was indeed very powerful. Asante sana. So our chief guest, for us to be able to set the scene of our discussion today, as I said, we have invited keynote guest speakers who are going to challenge our thinking. And to start off, we have one of our guests, that is Simon Mulindi Angote. He is an emeritus senior principal lecturer at the Institute of Devolution Studies, Kenya School of Government, with over 43 years of public sector experience spanning teaching, human resource development, leadership training. He began his career as a high school teacher, but later served as a lecturer at KSG Mombasa campus and rose to human resource development at the Ministry of Public Service. Over the years, he has undertaken extensive teaching and consultancy assignment for various audiences, including cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, governors, county executives, ambassadors, defense attaches, senior officials in federal government of Somalia, at institutions such as the National Defense College. Karibu sana, Dr. Angote. Your profile is so long, I'll not be able to read all of it, but I know you have a lot for us. Asante sana.
Our chief guest, I'm telling the chairman, that one cannot ban a dormitory. Our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, State Department for Agriculture, the Chairman, Kalro BON, the Director General of Kalro. We have distinguished researchers. allow me to just recognize this institution has great brains. I served in DPM and was involved in negotiating with development partners for capacity development for Kalro institutions. We had the Australian government, the Japanese government giving a lot of support to this institution, and for me in my heart, it's a very, very highly respected institution. The people seated here are not the people you see hawking on the streets and looking for free money. These are actually people who invest in the future of this country. Development partners, farmers, private sector leaders, ladies and gentlemen. As I share with you my thoughts, is from a governance perspective. But I just remember the young lady, and I used to belong to what we used to call 4K club. In the 60s, in primary school, we used to belong to 4K clubs. When hybrid 614 was introduced, my mother had a demonstration plot, and people used to come to learn how to plant hybrid maize. My mother also used to have coffee, so we learned how to do pruning, mulching. And when terracing, terracing was became punishable in 1967. If you were on a slopey land and you did not terrace, you would be arrested under the chief's order. And whenever the agricultural extension officers were coming to visit, I had a brother whom I followed. He became a medical doctor, but he would feign illness so that he could remain at home, because my mother used to provide lunch for people who came for extension, those meetings, They used to be called Ngirikacha. The Kikuyus call them Ngirikacha, as we used to call them Vakalakacha, I don't know whether those people exist. Our chief guest, I have come to share my thoughts with this audience, and is in 6 perspectives. One, I'm saying that Kenya's agricultural sector remains the backbone of the national economy, yet it's increasingly strained by climate change, weak extension systems, and persistent productivity gaps like what the young girl has talked about. This institution, Kalro, has a strategic plan that recognizes that technologies, innovations, and knowledge for agricultural transformation are essential to reduce the cost of living, eradicating hunger, creating jobs, shrinking imports, and growing exports. That is what the strategy of this institution focuses on. Kenya's Vision 2030 and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda prioritize climate-smart technologies and value chain approaches to achieve a sustained 7% annual growth in agricultural output. I wish to draw the focus of this conference to this question, because I heard the DG saying we're going to have reflections. How can Kenya systematically bridge the gap between agricultural science and measurable, resilient productivity at scale? In some other instance, we're looking at, in public sector management, we're now looking at moving from reforms to implementation, because we have been reforming on paper, but we don't see demonstrable results of those reforms. You could actually be very good in your laboratories, come up with innovations, but they're just for you. We don't feel them out there, and this is the challenge I want to give us ourselves here. My first theme here is looking at the productivity gap, attributed to climate, post-harvest losses, extension, and gender. So I'm looking at those 4. And I'm sharing with us and saying that climate-driven yield volatility is an issue we need to look at. That climate change poses a severe threat to Kenya's stable crops. A peer-reviewed modeling study published in the regional environmental journal Change projects that substantial declines in maize yields across 2 major maize-producing counties, ranging from 7 to 20% for the mid-century period, 2040 to 2069. There's that projection that maize production will go down. It actually is built along the same thinking like the Malthusian theory of population. that while population was growing at a geometric progression, food production was growing at an arithmetic progression. This is about Kenya. This projection is about Kenya. And in another area is projected that it will decline by between 22 and 41% for end of the period 2070 to 2099. That between the year 2070 and 2099, maize production will decline by those percentages. For us in public management, where you sit PS, we are now looking at strategic foresights, looking at creating tomorrow's future today. How do we deal with that environment where that is projected to grow? And that there will be increased temperature during critical growth phases over that same period. The second item under the same about the productivity cap is about the post-harvest losses, and the young girl has demonstrated that even when crops are harvested, the link from the farm to market is broken by substantial post-harvest losses. A study has been carried out by Ketau evaluating the effect of post-harvest management and sanitation practices, focusing on 342 grain traders in Kenya. That study found that the estimate of most grain losses in farm stores is 13.3%, attributed to insects 8.6%, rodents 4.7%. Another study published in the International Journal of Tropical Science, Insect Science 2025 examines store hygiene practices among 342 farmers in maize-based farming in Kenya. That research found that high hygiene scores correlated significantly with lower losses. Storing maize in the bedroom or living room reduces losses by 2.8% and 4.6% points, respectively. While if you store maize in granaries, in granaries and kitchen, the percentages tend to be higher, 19%, if you store in the granaries we have in the village. Those are areas of challenge to us. My grandmother in the early 60s used to preserve the maize to be used for planting crop at the top of the roof. And as they cooked food, the smoke kept it protected from weevils. I saw you trying to demonstrate. Where have we thrown indigenous technologies? Are they still applicable? That's what I'm trying to look at. Number 3, in this area of productivity camp, you're looking at weak extension services and technology adoption. I have been privileged to serve as a university council member in a number of universities. And in a lot of situations, you hear council saying, we want to throw away agriculture because it's no longer attractive to the young people. You know, they say we have to discontinue those courses. And we went on to redesign programs, agri-business. That's how those programs began. We are talking about agricultural extension services remain a critical missing link. Even when you train them, it was demonstrated that the extension officers want to be on their laptops and in the offices, and they want to call the farmers and ask, how are you doing? I have told you now, take that Callan. Yes, do it. That cannot be effective. We are saying here a randomized, controlled trial published in the European Review of Agricultural Economics in 2020 analyzes how agricultural extension can be made more effective in terms of increasing farmers' adoption of pro-nutrition technologies such as biofortified crops. I was reading, and the problem is that the extension officers do not speak the language of the farmer. If you are conversant with what Safaricom has been doing in buying bundles, buying airtime, they have made it very complex that you end up spending money without understanding what you are trying to do. That is how our situation is. We have people with knowledge, but communicating with the farmers so that it translates into practice is our problem. The study found that intensive training offered by agricultural extension officers and tailored to local conditions, can increase technology adoption considerably within a short period of time. I have had the privilege of working with the Office of the Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Somalia. And for them, we didn't do it here after the new constitution. We did not translate our policy documents into Kiswahili. They're supposed to be in Kiswahili. And the counties are supposed to translate them into local languages. I think we need to move that way so that the farmers actually get extension services in a language they understand. The last part of that gender gap is the question of, the productivity gap is the gender. Who are the majority of persons on the farmlands in the small subsistence farms? Is it not women? But if you are to go to a farm and ask the woman to adopt technology without the concurrence of the husband, she will be told to pack up and go. Have we addressed the issue of gender, in the area of productivity? Because the majority of people on the farmlands are women, yet they do not have certain rights. I look at that as an area of concern. Then, are there any conceptual frameworks for scaling, the technologies you have here? I want to borrow from 3 that bridging science and productivity requires a robust theoretical foundation. And I am borrowing from 3 recent frameworks that are relevant. One known as the Knowledge Technology Community Framework. That when you undertake research, it must be together with the farmers, in partnership. And therefore, when you are talking about improved productivity, the farmers you have been working with can demonstrate. It's not you who demonstrates. It is them who demonstrate that this thing actually works. That is a framework that can be adopted, that as we undertake research by the various institutes at Kalro, and DG, I went to Hainan Island in China, and they talked very highly of the Kenyan institutions under Kalro. In fact, they told me some time back in the early 70s, they came to benchmark against curry. They came to benchmark against the sugar research, rice research, the one in Mtwapa. They told me they came here. I had gone for some other ministerial visit. I was interested in their research, particularly for agriculture, because that is where, in fact, for us as a country, if we are talking about Kenya becoming a manufacturing country, then our focus must be in agriculture, because that's where we have our strength. We don't have those other minerals, but it's agriculture where our strength is. That is one proposal. The second framework is moving beyond the productivity paradigm. A study in environmental innovation and societal transitions published in 2025 investigated the extent to which agricultural innovation systems in 4 African countries, Benin, Kenya, Mali, and Nigeria, prioritize multiple sustainability objectives. It found that the agricultural innovation approaches need to embrace multiple sustainability objectives beyond productivity alone. It aligns with a study in agriculture and human values examining smallholder agricultural transformation and its implication for environmental sustainability household in Kenya here, undertaken in 2024. There's a third model called scaling climate smart agriculture. Climate smart agriculture. People have now technology, the technology on mobile phones. They can tell you what the temperatures are, those things, eh? But have we gone to the farmers to get them to understand? It was demonstrated here. The old mama who was digging on her farm, and this bright young fellow from a university must have got a first class, trying to impress her with, from my laptop. Do they understand? So this one says here that that study concluded that knowledge on scaling pathways is limited, and that farmers' preferences for specific climate smart agriculture options remain poorly understood, highlighting the need for participatory and context-specific approaches. We do it in the laboratories. We are not with the farmers, and that is yours. It's not ours. Those are frameworks that could be embraced. Is it all lost? The DG talked very proudly here about, ladies and gentlemen, I want to report to you the innovations we have had over. You know, I saw it, I said yes. And for those of us who have worked inside government, we actually understand the role of this institution. When many PSs and other people think that their ministries are the most honorable ministry to work for is the Ministry of Agriculture. And I was telling your predecessor, the professor who was here before you came, there is also a privilege. If you look at the history of what was then called Curry, and where you are, people who have worked in these institutions, you have brought us a lot of honor. You know, the research institutions where you have worked, you have brought us a lot of honor. My other question is, are there any success stories around? You know, all is not lost. We can't condemn ourselves. We can't say what we've been doing is not working. I'm saying despite the systemic challenges, concrete evidence demonstrates that bridging science and productivity is possible. And I want to demonstrate with 3 cases. 1, technologies for African agricultural transformation. TAD. Technologies for African agricultural transformation. The TAD program that was initiated by the African Development Bank as part of its Feed Africa initiative has delivered improved varieties of climate resilient rice, your rice area, wheat, and maize seeds, along with their accompanying technologies to cover 13 million farming households and increased food production by more than 12 million metric tons per year. In outcome case study documented the deployment of maize technologies in Western Kenya, specifically water-efficient maize hybrids as a climate-smart option, demonstrating positive impacts on productivity. These climate-smart maize varieties yield 24 to 35% more grain under moderate drought stress. So the third is an example of successes that have been recorded, not away, but inside Kenya here. Number 2, what we call regenerative agriculture in Eastern Kenya. A study presented at the Tropeng conference in 2025 combined structured field monitoring and probabilistic modeling to assess the impacts of regenerative agriculture on land health. You see, the young man wanted to tell the old woman about PhD, the pH of the soil. You remember the pH of the soil? The acidity of the soil. She doesn't understand those things. This land was given to her by the grandfather. And the grandfather was given by the grandfather. They lived there, they never died of hunger. Why are you saying it's going to be hunger now? You need to convince to me that soil loses its health. So this was about the health of the soil, rural livelihood outcomes and resilience across 4 counties in Kenya. This study provides empirical evidence that regenerative agriculture practices deliver positive outcomes for soil health, agronomic performance, and farm economics, with important implications for resilience in vulnerable farming systems. This aligns with the broad literature showing that sustainable practices can be highly profitable with a cost benefit of as high as 5. The third one is about emerging digital extension tools, the ones I was talking about. You know, these things have worked. We're demonstrating here that High in their research have evaluated the impact of an AI-powered agricultural advisory chatbot farmer chart developed by Digital Green to enhance knowledge, technology adoption, productivity, and income among smallholder farmers in Kenya. The findings provide some of the first casual evidence on the effectiveness of farmer-centered advisory services powered by generative AI, with the positive implications for scaling extension services at lower cost. We have a lot of young people now. We're saying many young people are dropping agriculture, but it's not true. I have a young boy in Wajir. There was a story that was ran in the paper in this country about a young boy who was growing maize and watermelons. You know it? And it also does honey. This young man went to Alliance High School. He got an A and went to the University of Nairobi and has done civil engineering. He went back to Wajir and he's a full-time farmer. He has convinced his friends on that river between Mandera, you know the river running in Mandera, in Ethiopia and Kenya and Somalia. He has actually a group of young people who are doing it, and he advises his friends using technology. So is it possible to embrace technology to provide advisory extension services? How can we apply AI to do that? Guest of honor, as we reflect on this, you will find persistent barriers. And because you are here as headship of policy, I will be proposing after these barriers some policy interventions. The barriers include one, the barriers to climate smart agriculture adoption. In a study by Lenhart in 2026, they have examined the social, cultural, economic, and political barriers to adoption of climate smart agriculture in Kenya. The research found that support for climate smart agriculture has not achieved widespread uptake among smallholder farmers, with barriers ranging from financial constraints and land tenure insecurity to limited access to information and weak institutional support. Our guest of honor, we need to look at when we devolved agriculture, have all counties embraced extension services as seriously as that should be? But would you now say, because that has not happened, then we must bring back extension services centralized? In the law, in the Governmental Relations Law, the IGRA, in the Governmental Relations Act of 2012, there are provisions for joint committees of the national and county government. In your ministry, you have the Intergovernmental Sector Forum for Agriculture. So the national government and the national government and the county governments have a forum under the law in which you can meet and look at how are we progressing. In fact, that law demands that sectors report to the summit on an annual basis progress made in that particular sector. So the idea that, oh, you know, since we devolved, counties have not taken extension seriously, it becomes a failure on all of us, because there are provisions for us to still do it without appearing to supervise this particular area. The other one is the question of limited evidence on scaling climate smart agriculture. Knowledge on scaling climate smart agriculture interventions remains scanty. A peer-reviewed study drawing lessons from 25 climate smart agriculture scaling cases in Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania concluded that knowledge on scaling pathways is limited and that farmers' preferences for specific climate smart agriculture options remain poorly understood, hindering targeted upscaling of productivity, adaptation, and mitigation. And finally there, we have the second last is the question of financing caps and underinvestment. Underinvestment in agricultural research and extension remains a persistent challenge. While the government of Kenya has prioritized agriculture through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda framework, actual financing falls short of continental commitments. We're just going through the budget period. All the emphasis is on education, health, and security. Nobody's talking about agriculture. Agriculture is like the traditional African society, a child born out of wedlock. Agriculture is treated in that manner. And there is no greater threat to national security than the absence of food. The absence of food is the greatest risk we have as a country. A people without food become restless and cannot be contained. And that's why this conference becomes very critical, because you know, he who pays the piper calls the tune. And in my vernacular, they say, a woman who wants love from the husband can carry it through his stomach. Feed your husband very well, and anything you want from him, he will provide, because he has had food. You understand it? So I think we need to actually, DG, like you said, we don't seem to really profile our research findings. We need to have that visibility. We need, like this conference, need to have invited the relevant committee of parliament. They need to be here. We need to have brought here universities. We need to have brought representatives from schools across the country, for them to start appreciating who we are and what role agriculture plays in our lives. It's a privilege and pleasure for me just to share my thoughts. The question of financing here, I'm saying, under investment in agricultural research and extension remains persistent, that we have this under bottom-up economic transformation agenda, but our investment is very low. For example, a study examined the impact of renewable energy installation on agricultural sector performance in Kenya over the period 1984 to 2024, finding that Kenya's agricultural growth remains constrained by energy limitations, despite its role in food security and climate adaptation. Reliable long-term financing for agriculture is essential for scaling pathways to succeed. Finally, in that area of barriers, we have the question of gendered gaps in climate-smart agriculture adoption. A peer-reviewed study has investigated the influence of gender on the adoption of climate-smart agriculture among farming households in Embu County in Kenya. Guided by the diffusion of innovation theory, the research found that this scenario reinforces productivity disparities and patriarchal norms and male out-migration, with women facing significant barriers to adopting climate-smart agriculture practices because of land ownership. Who has told you to come and practice on my land? This is not your father's land. Here you can only do this with my permission. Addressing those gaps must be central to any scaling strategy. Then you have the question of delayed technology adoption. In a study by Ahmed in 2025, it examined the role of memory constraints in adoption of productive technologies among smallholder farmers in Kenya, focusing on acaricides for livestock disease prevention. The study found that memory limitations significantly affect technology take-up, suggesting that behavioral factors, not only economic or informational constraints, hinder adoption. So how do we deal with the cognitive issues, right? You've got the farmers, but there are cognitive issues that you're supposed to address, even as you're trying to scale those. Allow me, guest of honor, to then look at what strategies do we then embrace for sustainable scaling. I propose 3 of them. The 3 I'm proposing, chief guest, are based on 3 pillars. 1, farmer-ready technology bundles. Kalro and partners should transition from standalone technologies to integrated bundles that combine climate-smart seeds, digital advisory services, good agricultural practices packaged for local conditions, and post-harvest handling protocols, the whole cycle. Piloting the KTC framework in selected counties could embed scientists within farming communities to co-develop and adapt these bundles. You're working with people in the whole process. Pillar number 2 is what is called the last mile digital and physical infrastructure. We have first digital extension highway. scale mobile platforms that function offline and in local languages, building on the evidence that AI-powered advisory services can enhance knowledge and technology adoption. Secondly, post-harvest infrastructure. There is need to scale hermetic storage technologies and establish village-level aggregation hubs, drawing on evidence that store hygiene practices significantly reduce losses. Finally, irrigation expansion. Expand small-scale solar-powered irrigation schemes, particularly in the arid and semi-arid area counties, hardest hit by climate variability. Pillar number 3 is inclusive finance for agripreneurs and women. To begin with, there is need to de-risk private investment. We need to use public funds to de-risk private investment in climate smart technologies, warehouse receipt systems, and digital platforms. Secondly, there is need for gender-responsive financing. There is need to target women-led agribusinesses with microcredit saving groups and insurance-linked products drawing on evidence of gender gaps in productivity. Lastly, youth engagement in key transform agriculture into an attractive agribusiness destination for Kenya's large youth population. And when the young girl was talking about, this was just, if it's in the church, you get convicted that, yes, this is it. Our guest of honor, these are my proposals, my policy proposals in that particular area. I said, for me, I'm giving you my perspective from a governance perspective, right? I'm not from the agriculture sector, but I am a Kenyan. I was a 4K club member. At least the highest I did in school, I did agriculture up to 4th form. I did agriculture up to 4th form. And of course, just what I got a credit. I got credit 3 those days. The policy recommendations. To turn the compact into action, the following policy measures are proposed, informed by peer-reviewed evidence. 1, strengthen the science policy interface. Several peer-reviewed studies have examined the science policy interface for agriculture in Kenya, identifying strategies for enhancing evidence-informed policy making. The multiple streams framework has been applied to analyze how knowledge brokers deal with ambiguity within science policy interfaces for livestock and climate change in Kenya. Building on this evidence, a formal science policy advisory mechanism should be institutionalized within Kalro. My proposal. Number 2, accelerate the regulatory review of improved varieties. You've heard, people have not known that from the early 60s, we have actually been looking at genetically modified foods, right? It's now appearing there is something new. When we adopted hybrid maize in 1966, was it not a genetically modified thing? Yes, but we have the framework. I'm saying here, accelerate the regulatory review of improved varieties under Kenya's existing biosafety framework, while strengthening risk communication to avoid further economic losses from delayed adoption. Evidence from that third demonstrates that climate-smart maize varieties can deliver yield advantages of 24 to 35% under drought stress. Number 3, mandate gender disaggregated data collection and targets. That in all Kalro-led scaling projects aligning with the gendered constraints identified in the peer-reviewed literature, set a specific target to reduce gender productivity gap by 50%. 4, invest in extension reform and digitization. That evidence from a randomized controlled trial in Kenya shows that intensive, locally tailored training offered by agricultural extension officers can increase technology adoption considerably within a relatively short period of time. It should not, let it be in local languages, contextualized. Establish a national scaling facility within Kalro, modeled on the third approach, with a portfolio rather than a project mindset. This facility will coordinate funding, technical assistance, and monitoring for scaling. drawing on lessons from 25 climate-smart agriculture scaling cases that were studied in Kenya. And finally, our guest of honor, integrate post-harvest loss reduction into county development plans, the CIDPs, because agriculture has been devolved. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya possesses a strong agricultural research system in Kalro, a growing portfolio of proven innovations, like the ones you'll be seeing, and a favorable policy environment. We have no doubt that policy has been given right from the time we adopted Vision 2030. This country is very rich, particularly in the agricultural sector, on policy. We are not short of policy. So we're saying here, although we are very strong in that manner, the translation from science to productivity remains frustrated by climate impacts, post-harvest losses, weak extension, and uneven scaling capacity. Peer-reviewed evidence demonstrates that projected maize yield declines of between 22 to 41% by end of the century can only be averted through urgent coordinated action. The successful models presented the TAR's delivery to over 13 million households, regenerative agriculture's positive economic returns, AI-powered digital extension demonstrate that transformation is possible. What is now required is not new science. You have a lot of innovations. It's not new science, but a deliberate, financed, and inclusive science to productivity compact that embraces systems change, long-term commitment, and an acceptance of risk in pursuit of transformative successes. The urgency is clear. The tools are ready. It is time to bridge science and productivity at scale. It's been my pleasure sharing my thoughts on this with you. Thank you for the invite.
Let's give him a better clap. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Angote, for sharing your insights with us. Indeed, that's what we wanted to hear so that we can change our paradigm. For a long time, as scientists, we have done research, and I think research was our business. And we were judged by how many publications that we did. And we were told that if you do not publish, then you perish. But today, the gospel is now different, and I think our DG and our chairman has been preaching it, that we now emphasize on impact. And I think that's what Dr. Gote has brought up, that beyond productivity, beyond the good technologies that you are developing, then we need to think, how do these technologies benefit the farmer? I think that's a challenge for us. He's given us a challenge for us to think going forward, how do we move from productivity to impact together with our partners who are in the room. I think everybody is emphasizing on this, so it's a good challenge, and thank you very much for bringing that up. So now allow me now to invite my DG once again on the stage so that he can help me bring the rest of the speakers on the floor as we proceed. Thank you so much, DG.
Thank you very much, Alice. Let's give another clap to Simon for. Thank you, Simon, for provoking our minds. I think this is the essence of the conference. Speak it. Speak it. You better speak it. And I was surprised that in 1960, GMOs were already there. But still a trouble in the 21st century. And we will leave it to the next generation to speak it about it. So it's really encouraging, and we must each collectively do something so that we can be able to change tomorrow. Yeah. I know we've been speaking about these things, but every time we live outside Kenya, we behave like we live the politics of Kenya in Kenya. And you behave like you don't understand that even when you are in UK, you eat all these things you refuse here at home. You know, it happens. So thank you very much. And in the next 5 days, we will be getting a lot of mind-provoking keynotes, like what Simon has been able to say. Allow me now to invite our chairman, because so that he can also speak the stage and tell us. I think our chairman has been speaking that we move from the destitute, not the destitute. We're from the labs, and chairman, we've crossed the destitute now. We are outside the gate. So I look forward that our scientists would soon be in the villages. You're most welcome, chairman, to give your remarks.
God is good. Raise up your heart, say God is good. And all the times, thank you very much. Our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, Dr. Kiprono Lono, Director General, Representative of CGIRAR and the international research partners, Chairman of State Department and board members present today, Vice Chancellors, representative of our university partners, distinguished scientists, researchers, innovators, development partners, private sector leaders, farmers, organization representatives, members of the media, the youth present today, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me welcome you to Kalro, although the DG had welcomed you. It is my singular honor and privilege to welcome you, each one of you, to the second Kalro Scientific Conference and Innovation Expo. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I extend our deepest gratitude for honoring us with your presence, your expertise, and your commitment to the future agriculture and Kenya across the continent. 5 years ago, we gathered our inaugural scientific conference, a milestone that marked Kalro's deliberate step toward more open, more rigorous, and more connected scientific culture. Today we return not merely to repeat the exercise, but to build upon it. The theme of the second edition, Innovation for Sustainable Agri-food Systems, Climate Change Resilience, and Improved Livelihoods, speak to where we are as an institution and where times demand we do. We meet defining moments. Kenya agriculture sector faces both immense opportunity and profound challenges. Climate variability in shaping the conditions under which our farmers work. Global food system remain fragile. The pressure on land, water, and natural resources is intensifying. And yet, within these pressures lies the greatest innovation science has ever received to be relevant on transformative of this agriculture sector. Kalro was established previously for such a moment, mandated to generate and promote the use of improved technologies in agriculture and livestock. Our work is not academic exercise. It is a national obligation. Every research, publication, every improved variety, every technology transferred to a farmer is contribution to the food security, livelihood, economical dignity of millions of Kenyans. Allow me briefly to reflect the strides our institution has made since our last conference. Our researchers have continued to develop and release improved crop varieties, from drought-tolerant maize and high-yield legumes to disease-resistant potato, climate-smart sorghum. We have expanded our footprint in livestock, genomics, and post-harvest technologies and agro-processing innovation. stand a testimony to Kalro ambition to move science beyond the laboratory and into hands of the farmers and entrepreneurs. We have depended on partnerships with CGIAR, with bilateral donors, with the private sector, and with our fellow national research institutions across the region. We are proud collaborative spirit that has come to define Kalro's engagement with the broader agriculture research system. Ladies and gentlemen, we have worked as Kalro for many years, and Kalro has got many variety of different crops, of different livestock, and I'm today challenging every person, because today here we have the private sector, we have the business people, we have the farmers, we have the young people, we have innovators, we have the scientists. Kenya, we have become a country, and mostly Kalro, that we do research. We produce varieties of different crops, but who benefits from this research? We use a lot of our resources. Our neighbors are benefiting, not this country. It's not benefiting because of what we are doing our research. I give an example of nyota beans. Nyota beans is being used in all our schools because it does not have a lot of gases. But where do we get our beans? We are getting our beans from our neighbors here in Tanzania instead of growing in our places. And we have so many empty lots all over this country. It's high time the Minister of Agriculture put up a proposal that people who have got idle lots should be punished because they are making Kenya to become poor. Ladies and gentlemen, we also take this fashion of maize varieties. We have so many maize varieties in Kenya. But where are we getting our maize for our meals, for our flour? We are importing from our neighbors, from Uganda, from Tanzania, where we have all these lands. And we are the one who are doing the research. Who are benefiting from our research? It's not us. So I challenge the Minister of Agriculture. I challenge this country and the President. Let us use what we have to make sure that we have enough food security. I also want to talk a bit, because the chief guest will talk about the Afrasif. Many of you, who knows about Afrasif here? DCC, do you know about Afrasif? DCC, do you know about Afrasif? No. The DCC here is wearing the government cape with a crown here, but he does not know about Afrasif. And he's the one who is supposed to tell the people down there what is Afrasif. So we are failing, we as an institution. And Afrasif, many of you do not know about Afrasif. Afrasif is the antidote of aflatoxin. The aflatoxin, why are we talking about aflatoxins? You take maize, you take flour. A woman who is pregnant takes flour, takes porridge with aflatoxin. But when she gives birth and breastfeeds the kid gets that aflatoxin through the milk. Other countries have taken the policies. You go in other countries, you cannot sell your maize to the millers if you have not used Afrasif. But Kenya, we are taking Afrasif, we are taking maize, aflatoxin. I gave an example the other day, chief guest, of I imported about 20,000 breeders of poultry. That's why I'm called Noah Goko. I imported 20,000 breeders. I brought them in my county Nyeri. I have a lot of chicken actually. Chicken yangu ikifunguliwa kwa kijiji yetu ni mingi kuliko watu yangu wale wako kwa kijiji. Then my son, who is our CEO, told us we have got 5 trucks of maize, which we are buying cheap, in a very cheap way, because it has not met the moisture level. It was imported. Kuangalia if the maize, some of them were rotten, it had aflatoxin, but we said because now we are getting maize in a cheaper way, let's buy this maize. and we produced our chicks feed. After that, my dear friends, within 2 weeks, we had lost the 20,000 chicks I had imported with a lot of money. Because of what? Aflatoxin. If that knowledge could have come to me, that was before I joined Kalro. If that knowledge could have come to me, I could not have lost all this money that I lost. So I had another person who also used the aflatoxin maize flour. He keeps many dogs, but he bought the unga because the unga is cheap, and he did care about the aflatoxin. He lost his 10 dogs. Now, what if at all the dogs are dying because of aflatoxin? What about you? How much aflatoxin are you carrying in your body today? Aflatoxin causes cancer. We are taking a lot of our resources to India, to China, to other places, in hospitals, just to treat our people. Why don't we come now and do a preventive measure and tell our people, tell our millers, tell our farmers, you must use Afrasafe. Kalro manufactures Afrasafe in Machakos. Our chief guest, we invite you. We invite all of you. You come and see what is Afrasafe. You also see it in our exhibition here. But you need to come and see the facts here. The DCC is supposed to have that knowledge about Afrasafe. They are the one who is staying with the community down there. So let us think about preventive measure instead of thinking about curative measures. The last thing, when I talk about agriculture and we are talking about Kalro, I'm challenging the young people. I've seen them here. I've seen the youth here. They are the majority. And you have heard what this young girl has talked about here. Why are you going out demonstrating, throwing stones because you are becoming idlers? And there's a lot of rad that you can be able to grow and become busy and become active and also have money, and you'll not be able to go and demonstrate unnecessary. So we are challenging our government, whom that we are in the government, all of us. Let us wake up and assist our young people to start now doing agriculture. In the next 20 years, our chief guest, if we don't engage this youth, some of us, we are doing agriculture here. Most of us are above 50 and going to 60. And in fact, the person who is giving you food is about 70 years. In the next 20 years, if we don't engage our youth, then you'll not have food. Ladies and gentlemen, let us think proactively. Let us become aggressive. Let us be proactive. We think about our scientists here. Take Ethiopia. Ethiopia came learned about our science research in Kalro. And now they are doing better than us. What is happening to us? We need to think big. As board members and directors of Kalro, our responsibilities is governance, providing the strategic directions and accountability framework with which Kalro scientists and management can thrive. I want to assure our partners and stakeholders here today, the board is firmly committed and supporting an environment where evidence-based research can flourish, where scientists' integrity is non-negotiable, and where transition and knowledge into impact is shared institutionally and prioritized. We are equally committed to Kalro financial sustainability and institutional strengthening. We recognize that world-class science requires world-class investment in infrastructure, in human capital, and in enabling the system, and allow the researchers to do their best work. This conference is at its heart a celebration of science over the next 5 days. We shall hear from researchers presenting their findings, witnesses of innovators, showing cases, and engage in dialogue that cuts across disciplines, sectors, geographies. I encourage every participant, scientists, policymakers, private sector actors, development partners and alike to engage fully. Ask hard questions, challenge assumptions, make connections. The value of scientific conferences is measured only in papers presented, but in partnership forged and ideas assigned. With this one to conclude, I want to challenge the private sector and tell the private sector, the business people who have come here today, that there is a lot of business that you can do through Kalro. Kalro has got a lot of innovations. And you people, you are saying there is no business, there is no work, there is no employment. Kalro has got a lot of innovations. A good innovation, and I want to tell the manufacturers who are here, the private people, the business people, that there is something that we are developing in Kalro which is making abrasive, called the abrasive strains. And we want Kalro to remain producing the strains. Then you people, the manufacturers, learn away with the strain, go and manufacture abrasive, because the government cannot be able to manufacture enough abrasive for this country. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, let us make the most of these 5 days. Let conversation be honest. Let the science be rigorous. Let the outcomes be consequential. The farmers of Kenya and the food insecure communities across our regions are counting on us. Asante sana. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause to our chairman. Thank you, Chairman, for that remarks and assuring that we must deliver research to practice. And Kalro has indeed many opportunities to take that business and be able to create incomes. Now, allow me now to take this opportunity, you rise up so that we can welcome our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, the Ministry of Agriculture, to officially open us this scientific conference. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Makofi. Thanks.
Thank you. Have your seat. Okay. I've never understood the philosophy of waking up or standing up when the chief guest is being welcomed. I've never understood. It must be in this academia. Maybe it should be part of the research. Why should people stand? I don't know. Maybe to wake up. Maybe you are asleep. I guess so. I normally guess. Say, it could be that one. I've been thinking about it over time. Say, why should we stand for the chief guest? But it could be honor. But of important is to wake up, to wake everybody up. The chairperson of Kalro, Dr. who has talked here, and the Director General, distinguished researchers, scientists, innovators, our development partners, and our regional and international guests who are here, representatives from the academia, the universities, the county governments, and the private sector, our farmers, youth, women representatives here, the team of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is still morning. I guess so. Good morning. Good afternoon. Oh, it's afternoon. First of all, I want to bring the greetings from the Cabinet Secretary, who would have liked to be here today, but I'm here on his behalf, so I will read his speech. And this is a very, very important conference, all of us. I learned that in the program, the PS is supposed to talk. So you may allow me to speak on before I welcome the CS here. I will definitely welcome the CS after that, because he's our chief guest for today. So for me, I didn't write a speech because I have a speech here for the CS. So I will just speak like an academia. And then the CS will speak like a policymaker, isn't it? You'll allow like that, so that I speak to your problems before we go to the very important speech for today. So I was supposed to come. I'm supposed to come for the closing. But it's good I came for the opening so that I listen to you. The academia. One time I was a lecturer, but I used to be disturbed when I see government not implementing things. But now I'm inside. And I realize things fall apart in government sometimes. It's not very easy. But we are lucky that we have been in the two field. When we were discussing with the chairman and the CEO, Kalro, I asked a big question. What is the intention for this conference? Yes, it is the second conference. But what is our plan? What do we intend to achieve after 5 days? I know, obviously, we'll eat a lot of food, isn't it? No waste. We'll talk a lot. There will be a lot of English here. Talking, people talking. They will talk good English. These are academia, serious scientists, researchers with a lot of brains. And then there will be discussion on networking and seeing some innovations. Some are repetitive. And some statements here will be the same statements of why don't we make research work? There will be stories like that. I was asking the DG and the chairman, what do you intend to achieve in the second conference, which is innovation for sustainable agri-food system, climate change resilience, and improved livelihoods? A very nice topic. You really try to look for all the words to make sure that everybody is covered. I hope everybody is covered when you look at the theme. But I asked, so what do you intend to achieve? Because last time I was in another big conference for the scientists. I think we talked, it was also arranged by Kalro. It was a world conference for, it was an international conference. We had scientists all over the world. We talked very tough. You remember those days? And we talk like today, and we'll talk like this. You'll continue. But ask yourself, what is the take home? You'll be saying, make science work. Yes. You'll be saying, where is the missing link? What's happening here? And you also say, let science speaks to the farmer. And so what? Science. You have a case. It's cool to be called a doctor and a professor and an expert with a lot of knowledge. But a scientist, you have a problem. You are too scientists. Or okay, the right word is you are too scientific to an extent that you don't talk. You know too much and you keep quiet. Either you get scared or you get tired with the facts. Because it is a reality, it is in black and white. But these people are not listening to you. That is what happened with scientists. You know, you are not politician. You do research in the lab, and you have a lab report, and sometimes it is very tiring and boring. And because of your level of knowledge, you are too sharp, and you ask yourself, why are people not understanding that climate change is coming? Why? I've done a research and it is here. Facts very clear, very clear. Come here, man, it is here. But there is a strong missing link. And I told you last time that if we can move from the lab to the field, I like what you say. After this, come past the gate, come to Kilimo, I escort you to the field. Because you are too much in the lab. And you have written too much. The shelves are full of scientific knowledge. Reports, very nice report. But the policy makers sometimes are not privy to it, or the farmer doesn't know, because the language, the communication on where they are cannot be accessed. And therefore, You get frustrated, or sometimes good things are never implemented. You wait for another person to come and do the same research again. Reason is, I told you, sons, please communicate your lab report. A day before yesterday, I was with the pastors, bishops. We were discussing about drug abuse, illegal brews, this issue of school unrest. And we're talking, you know, they have Bibles. When they are talking, they can bring a Bible, and you cannot challenge. Because it is as is. And if you talk too much, they will tell you, please get safe. Now, while we were talking, then we say, yes, you feel that we need to do something about this issue of drug abuse. Yes, government? Yes. All right. Thank you. Do you believe in it? Yes. And we have a Bible. Everybody was with a big Bible. And they talk the same language. Oh. Now, the chairman for Nakada is a bishop. Na alikuwa. Are you here? Yes. You are the chairman of Nakada. Bishop. So, why are you not communicating? If you know it and you believe in it, and you are a bishop with a Bible, why are you not talking about it? Why are you lamenting? You are government, at least part of you are government, you have a person of the Nakada is a bishop, you are government, why are you not communicating? What I'm telling you is, I think we almost told them, after this, give a press brief. So, even you, after such a big conference, what is your pressure? Don't you know how to communicate? Don't you know how to call a presser? I cannot do that because I am not a scientist on that. You have written the lab report. You believe in it. You have had a good conference. You have talked here. You have convinced your friends or everybody else in the panel. And then you go home without even having a presser to say you are here and these are the 5 points you feel that the government should do. Sandys, please, that lap of yours is too comfortable for you. You need to be chased away from the lab with the report. So that we force you to talk and tell us how you want us to do. Because there are things I know, but I cannot really talk about it because it is more of scientific, unless you say so that you are more trusted than some people. That is challenge number one. You know, when the Harriet was talking, I hope you heard what she said. Those are facts. And she said some things about food losses. You remember she said, can we even introduce small plates in schools than big plates? I hope they will not go on strike. You know, when you go to school, the plate is too big. Harriet, I heard you, and you know, I was thinking loud. But there is something you didn't say, which I was thinking also in terms of food losses. About eating too much. Isn't it a loss? I'm saying livestock, when you are really feeding your livestock, you measure the food based on the production. But you, why are you eating too much food? I'm just asking a question. If you look at that as a loss, I don't know. I know. You know, you need to, you know, you go to real issues, real things. Eating, you know, I saw those wastage and I said, surely, this is too much waste. And I agree with you, Professor. Food security is a serious security, more than the real security. I don't know whether you understand. If there is no food, even if you come with all the guns, you try, people will say, I better die of a bullet than hunger. You saw when there was no food, they put safrias in their head in Kenya. Now they are very silent. They are taken back to the fire. But food security is a serious security item. If you look at what it means. If there was no food, even you, if you are not eaten, you wouldn't have come here. Even if you are a police officer or you have a very serious written document to come and discuss with us with no food, no coming to this conference. And that is a fact. And if there is a likelihood that you are threatened that there will be no food in the evening today, you will leave the conference very early. Is that a fact? If you had that at your house, there will be no food. There is something happening. I'm just telling you how important this portfolio is. And as you said, food security is real security. Without food, that is why it is called, there are two tockets in government: interior security item and food and nutritional security item. Those two means a lot. But this other one is bigger than the other one. I was just positioning so that when you discuss SAN's report, and you need to know that this is a very, very important conference. And if we can get way forward as government in this conference, it will be a plus. Because having a meeting, having a joint discussion, engaging over a period of time is a very rare opportunity. Let us use scientists. You look like scientists. Are you scientists? Or some of you are not scientists. You know me. I'm a scientist, but I'm not so well researched in that level of doctorate. My doctorate is different. But I want you to take this 5 days, give an opportunity to really look at matters, food, and the way forward so that the government can assist, or we can assist one another. Please, please, please. I will speak to some things. I expect a pressure. Either you cook it, or if you don't, look for somebody to assist you, tell you what you have said in a way which people can understand. You talk, Professor, you talk about something which is important. You know, I've been in this portfolio for PS agriculture. And things you see in some time technology space is totally not in the ground. Sometimes people talk, tweet, blog, do Facebook, think that everybody knows. The farmer doesn't know. Please go to the ground. This story of putting on ties and talking English in Nairobi and town, it is not with the farmer. You are alone. The right doctor for farming is that old mama. Is more of a doctor than any one of us. That is why before you were born and when you were born, he or she can tell you how to preserve food. And she used to have the best technology before we disrupt them. And we have never tapped into those ingredients. I'm just telling you. When you go to the ground, you know, I've been interacting with farmers. Even the technology of, you think they have a smartphone. My friend, they don't have a smartphone. You think their phones are on throughout. My friend, their phones are on. Their phones are on specific time. You think they watch television? No. They only watch television when they go to a center. Maybe they are buying something. They can peep to somebody. A particular pub with TV is when they can watch television and disappear and go for weeks and months. You are alone. So, I think what Simon was talking is communication. So, you need to tweak your scientific knowledge reports to a better communication channel whereby a farmer can listen and trust you. Even up to now, farmers think about extension services, and that is what they are waiting for. When agriculture was devolved, there is a missing link. And that is why if you saw last week when passing the budget, the first discussion in Parliament was a bill on agricultural extension services, which was passed by Parliament. Because we cannot work without those people. And we have tweaked it in such a way that the implementation mechanism will meet some of the required ingredients at the farm level to the real farmer. Real farmer, hello, they don't speak English, most of them. If you go and talk in English, you are lost. 90% talk in Kiswahili. I'm just telling you, you know, I'm on the ground. So if you just try to talk a lot of English, you are alone. That is the ground. They don't understand. And they also don't want a lot of words. They are very basic. Lipa, shilingi ngapi, unalipa lini, wapi mbolea, anaenda nyumbani. Unalima lini, itanyesha, haitanyesha. You know, that is Kiswahili for those who don't know. Simple language. They are so tired for too much English. They want to go to the farm and come back and go back. That is the ground. So as you introduce technology, make sure that the technology is a technology which you discuss and understand them, how the technology can be utilized. And many a time, they don't want too much. They are tired. They want to work the way they used to work in a very simple way. You heard what she was saying here. Simplicity is what is very important for the farmer. And remember, which I guess this scientific conference will come up with, farmers, they are manual, most of them. And they are very tired. Manual work is very tiring. So we want to go to mechanization. And this conference in research, they should come out which way to go on mechanization and cooperatives. Because as much as we talk here, without building those cooperatives, where farmer can get all those ingredients, farm input, knowledge, market, finances, and shared resources. If you are coming up with mechanization, it is a shared resource because they cannot afford a tractor. So, as you discuss this topic, as you engage in this conference, make sure that is done. Now, I know, like all of you, in Kenya, you know, you was talking about aflatoxin. We have talked and talked about it. I feel that it is high time we do implementation. But I lack the scientific or the technical report so that it can be implemented. Chairman. Okay, let me take it back. Every other time during weekend or during any other, when you are off in the shacks, I've realized that there are so many funerals nowadays. So whenever I go to a funeral, another one, people ask big questions. What's happening? Isn't it true? What's happening? And many a time you hear somebody died of, that is cancer, 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 cancer. You as scientists, what are you doing? You don't behave like you are not around. Or you have not been affected in one way or another. What's happening? Now, Kalro, I don't want to go to another place in future without an answer. I want these scientists, pick a panel of scientists, to do a research, to check whether the type of food we are taking, we are eating, are safe, so that we eliminate that one to say, the food is safe, it could be something else. As a ministry, we are under an obligation to make sure that the food Kenyans are taking or eating are safe food. So that the question in people's mind, that could it be food? You know, I was looking at animals. I don't know whether they have cancers. Is it very frequent? I don't know. You know, I was wondering, why is our animal kingdom threatened? So, in 3 months, let me get a report, put up a panel of experts, let us have a way forward on the type of food in Kenya, the food Kenyans are taking. Is it safe from any exogenic or any other related cancer ingredients? Number 2, so that we make decision. Because when I get scientists here and they are not working, let me make them work. Because I want a report so that we make a policy decision as government. Because you cannot go and cry, so and so has died, so and so and died, and somebody is looking at you. Meaning, what is happening? And we have sand this year in a hole. So in 3 months, let us get the report. And it will be a pressure. The other one is the chairman. You have talked about AfloSafe. And I realized that when we reject cereal produce from National Cereals and Produce Board because of aflatoxin elements, those particular food disappear into the streets. And you confirm today that you bought. I know, you are very honest. That is a fact. I'm just giving you serious issues. Now, I realize that from what you have said and what Kalro has said scientifically on this aflatoxin, which are in our soil, and sometimes they stay in our cereal food for several months in the shelves. Even after you have crushed flour, they are still there and manifesting. Which way forward a scientist? I want you in one man, a scientist led by Kalro. Let me get a technical report to make it a policy position if we must make sure that the fertilizers we are buying, we must buy with AfloSafe so that we treat our soil. You know, I can't go and make a pronouncement. I need a scientific report. As much as we know, those the rest are rumors, isn't it? But I need a report. Can you assist me get a report? If you believe in your science, if you don't believe in your science, let me see what to do as government. Because we can, so that we make a policy position as government and sort out the problem. Because if you see the impact. The other one is, we have another issue of which I think, so that I finish. I'm on policy implementation. You have talked, and I've listened to some of you, and we are government, and we must provide solution. A professor was talking about something. He said in 2040 to 20 something, 60, there will be decline of maize. He also said in future, if you want to save or reduce on post-harvest losses, you need to go and put your maize or your produce in the bedroom or in the sitting room. And if you do that, you can save 20%, 2%. I don't know whether you heard. Is it true? I was listening and saying, what is the reason? Is it because of population growth or because of theft? Because putting it in the bedroom, I'm just guessing it. Putting it in the bedroom, tell you there's a theft. Anyway, but I was also saying, could it be, apart from climate change, could it be because of land issue? That the 14 counties we have tilled over time. After some time, the soil ecosystem and structure will be totally affected, and therefore, the production will come down in a number of food crops, including maize. And if that is the case, can we have a food transformation agenda which, apart from the 14 counties producing food, which was done those days, I don't know why, to move also to the ASAL counties where there is a lot of virgin land, but we are only lacking water. So that we look proactive, responsive, and I need a transformation paper, food transformation agenda, so that we have a paradigm shift. We cannot continue going and measuring soil testing in the 14 counties and discovering the same things. Yet we have virgin soil in the remaining part of the country. which is around 80% virgin soil waiting for water. So as scientists, that is what we need as government. And those are solutions we are looking for. Those are what is called demand-driven solutions. And as you look at that, give us a report or land news. This story of subdivision of land, which way forward in a more structured manner so that we shift the mindset of our Kenyans from owning land and subdividing land into small buttocks based on the number of sons or children. And as population grow, land is limited. Which way forward? As scientists and as government. So if we can get that report, we make it a policy position. As much as it's very emotive, land is limited. And as we work on the affordable housing, then we must have a proper support on that. I felt that I should tell you that before I just read the CS speech, who is our chief guest. But the scientists, we are ready as government to support you, especially on implementation. But please speak from the lab. Come out of the lab and tell us your lab report. Table it always. And table it in a press conference. Don't hide. Don't go and talk to students, your colleague, about your research. And then the lecturer will give you marks. Or the scientists also. Right? They know there is a lot of report. Like this innovation. Why is it like that? Innovation. How can we scale it? How can we stretch it? If we believe in it. So can we say next time we'll be visiting innovation, the commercialized innovation based on this conference? So that you don't come here again, we say yes, we are here. Next time, the third conference will be now visiting the innovations which we passed here and they are now working and they have been commercialized. Next time, we need to see in part of the fertilizer subsidy afloxing, and we need to see suppliers doing that. That is really sad. And don't fear. If you have done a research and you believe it in your brain, tell us and defend it. And we'll be able to implement. We feel like we want to call you to assist us to push it to another level. Because as we continue holding on this lab report, more and more challenges are coming. And history will charge you for having a lab report which could have solved a problem like of the current climate change. And as all and young sons, you work for a generation to come. When that time comes, you'll be asked a big question. What did you do? So, there is issue of climate change. I normally see, I used to be PS water. When it rains, there's a lot of water. It destroys crops. After some time, it disappears. There is a lot of dryness. It destroys crops. So, hello? So, your case is my case. When you think about it, you have the answer. The answer is with you. That answer is right. Let me confirm to you. That answer you have is the right answer. So, tell us. So I will say something finally, that you will be charged by the next generation for not implementing what is right to save the next generation. And, you know, I don't know, Professor, do you tell scientists, you normally encourage them in the lecture room, in everywhere, that they are very important people? You also tell them that their science, the one you teach them, is the truth, is the truth and nothing but the truth. And they are facts. And you tell them they don't change. And therefore, so that they believe in it, they come a little bit shaken to an extent that to believe in their science report is sometimes very hard. And I guess it may not be Kenya alone. But now you have a very enabling environment. Our president is a scientist. He wants facts, he deals with facts. Then you have an opportunity in an environment to really pilot, operationalize your test, your lab report. You can do it very well here in Kenya because we use empirical data to really run the country. We use figures, facts. We don't guess, no guesswork. Even this one, even though I know it is almost right, I still want you to give me the report so that I hold on it and then move forward. Otherwise, those were my remarks. You know, that was for the PS. Now, let me welcome the Cabinet Secretary, the Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development, for the second Kalro Scientific Conference and Innovation Expo 2026, with the theme is Innovation for Sustainable Agri-food Systems, Climate Change Resilient, and Improved Livelihoods. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a simple truth. The future of this country will be grown, not just built. It will be planted in the soil, tended by the hands of our farmers, and harvested from the brilliance of our scientists. That is why I'm proud, deeply proud, to stand before you today at this 22nd Kalro Scientific Conference and Innovation Expo. I've sat in many boardrooms. I've navigated the corridors of parliament, media and business. I've seen what genuine transformation looks like. And I can tell you with full conviction that transformation begins not in the halls of power, but in research stations like this one, in the laboratories like Kalro, scientists, and in the fields of the Kenyan farmers who wakes up before dawn to feed a nation. Today, I'm not here merely to officiate. I am here because I believe in what you are doing. I believe in Kalro. I believe in Kenyan scientists and all other scientists of the world. And I believe that this conference has the power to shape the trajectory of our agricultural future. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be honest with you, as I'm always, Kenyan's agriculture is both a story of extraordinary promise and of agent and finished business. We are the bread basket of East Africa. We produce tea that sets the world standard, coffee that wins international awards, horticulture that fills Europe markets, supermarkets, and livestock that hungers millions of livelihoods. And yet we still import food that we can grow. We still have small-scale farmers who work harder than anyone in this room and earn less than they deserve. We still lose post-harvest losses, post-harvest value that, if captured, will lift entire communities out of poverty. That is not a counsel of despair. That is a call to action. And action is exactly what this conference is about. When President Ruto launched the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the better, he made a deliberate choice. He chose to build his economy from the bottom up, starting with the farmers, the pastoralists, the fishmongers, and the agripreneurs. Agriculture is not a peripheral concern in PETA. Agriculture is PETA. It is the engine that will lower the cost of living, drive food security, create decent jobs, support agro-industrialization, and unlock the potential of every county in this nation. My ministry has been given a clear mandate to transform this sector, and I have accepted that mandate with both hands. We are working to reduce dependency on rain-fed agriculture. We are investing in irrigation. We are strengthening extension services. We are confronting the fertilizer challenge directly. We are building markets that reward our farmers rather than exploit them. But government cannot do this alone. Kalro is not a supporting cast. Is not a supporting cast. Kalro is a co-lead in this production. The science you generate, the technologies you develop, the innovation you scale, they are the raw materials of transformation. Additionally, let me take a moment to honor this institution. Kalro has quietly, persistently, and sometimes without the recognition it deserves, been changing the face of Kenyan agriculture. Climate resilient seeds that grow where others fail. Livestock health technologies that save the hearts of our pastoralists. Soil management techniques that restore what years of misuse have degraded. Digital tools that bring precision farming to smallholders. Value addition innovation that move our farmers from commodity sellers to market makers. That is not small work. That is nation building work. And I want every researcher, every scientist, every technologist in this room to hear this clearly. Your work matters. Kenya sees you. I see you. But I also want to issue a respectful challenge. The era of research that stays on shelves must end. And that one I also told you. The era of innovation locked in channels, waiting to be discovered, must end. We must build pathways deliberately. We also must monitor pathways that move technology from the laboratory to the land. Commercialization is not a dirty word in research. It is the fulfillment of the research mandate. A seed variety that reaches 1 million farmers is worth infinitely more than a seed variety that wins an award but never leaves the station. You know, it is in the Bible, isn't it? If you are given a seed and you hide under your it is very clear in the Bible. Well, I know there are pastors here. I don't want to confuse the Bible. Yeah, about that. Is it the prophet or is it what of the seeds? Ladies and gentlemen, let us not mince words about climate change. We are in a crisis. The rains that our grandparents could predict by the blossoms of the trees are now unpredictable. The lakes that sustain generation are shrinking. The pests that we once controlled are now adapting faster than our intervention. This is not a distant threat. It is here. It is now. And our farmers, especially our small-scale farmers, are on the front lines of this crisis without the armor they deserve. Kalro works on climate resilience is not optional. It is extension. Every drought-tolerant variety seed developed here is a lifeline. Every soil restoration technique is an act of national security. Every water management innovation is a gift to the next generation. I'm committed to ensure that climate smart agriculture is not a conference topic. It becomes a policy architecture. It becomes budget allocation. It becomes extension services curriculum. It becomes the life reality of our farmers. I want to speak directly to the young scientists and the women researchers and entrepreneurs in this room. And I hope if you was here, you could have said to Harriet from that school, you are not the future of agri. You are the presence of agri, and you deserve to be treated as such. To our young scientists, I know the path has not always been easy. Funding is competitive. The recognition takes time. The pressure to publish can feel disconnected from the urgency of the problem you are trying to solve. I hear that, and I commit to you, my ministry will advocate for sustained investment in research careers, in mentorship structures, and demand-driven research programs that allow you to work on what actually matters. To our women researchers and women farmers, the data is clear. Even if the world has been slow to act on it, women who control agricultural decisions produce more, invest more in their life, in their household, and lift their communities faster. Investing in women in agriculture is not charity. It is the highest return investment in this sector can make. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge our partners who are here today and our bilateral development partners, the academia, the county government, and the private sector. By the way, do you have the academia here? I know they're shy. University, can you put up your hands if you are here? If you are a real scientist and if you are a university scholar, put up your hand. They fear. But please, they are there. Only one. Yes. But please, table your lab report, even if you don't want to say anything now. Please. I also want to take a moment. Sorry. The challenges we face are too large and too interconnected for any single institution to solve. That's why we have everybody here. And partnership is not a strategy. It is a survival imperative. What keeps shared purpose and a common vision of food secure Kenya. I want those partnerships to deepen. I want them to move beyond project cycles into structural collaborations that outlast any individual administration. As I talk with all these partners, to our international partners, Kenya is open for research collaboration. Bring your expertise, bring your resources, bring your network. You will find in Kalro, you will find Kalro an institution that matches your ambition and exceeds the expectation. You know, India is a place. You know, we are lucky as a country to have this amalgamated approach in putting research into one box called Kalro with such level of organization. The chairman and the staff surplus to us, and I want to commend you. Because when you have a very orderly organization, you can be transparent, trusted, talk science in science. It is very easy to get partners and collaborators, support you and support our nation. Let me paint for you the Kenya I am working towards. I see a Kenya where no child goes to bed hungry, not because we imported enough food, but because we grow enough food. I see a Kenyan where a smallholder farmer in Bungoma or Turkana or Kwale has access to drought-tolerant seeds, fair market prices, digital extension services, and reliable irrigation, not as an aspiration, but as a standard. I see a Kenya where our researchers are celebrated as the national heroes they are, where innovation from Kalro station flows into agribusiness, into export market, and into the everyday lives of our people. By the way, why are researchers not celebrated? Okay, maybe in other countries of the world, do you celebrate researchers? And what is the structure, the model of saying, thank you, you have done it well? Because they do a lot. So Kalro, in our next move, we need to recognize and celebrate our researchers. So I've just given you some news for the press. When you'll be just a live. So I also see a Kenya that is not chasing food security, but one that has achieved it and is now feeding its neighbors. That Kenya is possible. It is possible because of the people in this room. It is possible because of Kalro. It is possible because of all of you Sandis who are here. Distinguished guests, let me close with the words of our conference theme, Innovation for Sustainable Agri-food System, Climate Change Resilience, and Improved Livelihoods. And the slogan that captures our resolve, innovating for resilience, scaling for impact. I don't know whether you understand that statement. You know you wrote it. It is a theme. And being scientists, you need to believe in what you write and do it. Let us see the impact. Let me repeat again. Let us see the impact. At least mine will be seen. If you give me that report, I will put in the farm input, aflose. That will be seen. If you give me that report, we'll announce that our food is safe. Right away. And the problem we are facing on a lot of cancer-related death is not because of food. So, Pest Control Product Board gave us a report on the pesticides which were harmful to our health. We banned 72 pesticides, and it was in the press. That is how we work. But I'm waiting for you, Kalro. Where is the white smoke? So from this conference, I expect a white smoke from Kalro and from these scientists. So I want to congratulate the organization committee, the Kalro board and management, and every researcher who has contributed to making this conference a landmark event. I look forward to seeing the outcomes, not just in the conference report, but in the field, the markets, and the lives of Kenyans across this great nation. I want, therefore, to thank all of you as Sandeni San, and I officially open this conference. Now, I have to read the way it is. No comment, no comma. That was the CS talking. Can we clap for the CS? Sandis, as you sit here for 3 days, or for 4 to 5 days, please make sure that you use these 5 days very well and do something which will guide our young Sandis, because you are mentors. So, this is not a place to make mistakes. This is a place to demonstrate the facts and figures as is. And if it is not, the way they come is the way they are. Don't look like a politician trying to sugarcoat. Speak as is, because it's about facts. So don't mislead the young people in changing the lab report to look like something else which you want to be speak, which is a little bit good for the PS. A scientist call a spade a spade, no, as is. So that there are many young people in your midst who are watching you and expect you to guide them. Please be that good guide. So that in future, this continues with precision and with impact. Otherwise, asanteni sana, I wish you well as you deliberate.
Thank you very much, our chief guest, for those very, very kind words and challenges. I think you really challenge us, and I think Kalro will rise up on the challenges. We will expand our horizon, particularly on how we think. And we want to accept that the next conference, possibly the third one, will all in a field. The chief guest, possibly one of the farmers, one of the innovators, will remove the ties and ensure that we do it by practical. I think we will speak it out. We want to appreciate you, chief guest, and on the assignments, we will deliver it. Honestly, I think issues of food safety, we just concluded a food safety world celebration, and the data is not good. And Kalro is a house of evidence. It's a house of data. Remember your fertilizer recommendations emanated from here. The 7 million farmers that are distributed within the value chains, we have them. We know where they are. And for sure, we want to live within that data. Thank you very much, PS and the CS in absentia, because he has officially opened our workshop. Allow me now to just invite and really move to the last stage. Innovators. It's about partners. And our chief guest, we want you to really extend that recognition. I'm sure the scientist is not there. We will take us some time to recognize a scientist. Because I don't know. I also ask myself why. Possibly that could be another side event. Why we can't recognize scientists, the innovators. So allow me, PS, to welcome you to stage so that we can recognize we want to recognize a farmer, and I think a farmer is part and parcel of your champion. Could we have that farmer so that the PS could recognize on behalf of the farming community? Where is the farmer? Na tukaribishe mkulima, ule mkulima. Wapi mkulima amepotea ama? As we wait for the farmer to come, we want to recognize the young scientist for tomorrow. Harriet. Where is Harriet? Yes. Mercy Kemboy, the farmer from Solai, who has done a lot of beans for Harriet. Yes, there's a scientist. Yes. They want to Ben. Yes. Thank you for the young scientist for tomorrow. Asante sana. Harriet, the farmer all the way from Solai. Yes, I think this is the farmer PS has done a lot of scaling on beans. The Nyota. So, yeah, thank you. Then allow us also, thank you very much. Allow us to recognize also our keynote speaker, Simon, who has really challenged us. Yes, Simon, Professor, you've really challenged our minds. Allow us to recognize next is our partner, CG's representative of CG's. You come on behalf of our partner. We would not have been here without you. Battle PS, but then No. So the next one we want also to recognize Iri. Yes, Iri. Yes. Yes. Yes, the next one now, yes, you possibly sit aside because we want to recognize your office. I would ask the chair to come and recognize the peers and later to the CS. Karibu peers, thank you for supporting Caro. Thank you very much. Asante sana. And on the same spirit, our chief guest, you on extent receive on behalf of the chief guest, the CS. Asante sana. Thank you very much, and we really thank you for this section. P.S. We now welcome you to tour our exhibition, launch a few commercial products that are going to the farmers, and we believe on the story of dissemination. Asante sana.
So we request you to join our PS when he's launching the product and also visiting the exhibition. Then we'll meet after, probably after lunch, to start our breakout sessions. So the chairs of the next session, please take lead after this.
Rice farming in Kenya is an important sector that contributes significantly to the country's food security and provides a source of income for many smallholder farmers. Rice is grown by small and medium-scale farmers as a cash crop in East and Southern Africa and for subsistence in West Africa. The crop was introduced in Kenya in 1907 from Asia. About 80% of rice grown in Kenya is from irrigated ecologies established by the government and communities, while the rest is produced under rain-fed conditions. Rice farming in Kenya is an important agricultural activity, with the crop being a staple food for many people in the country. Rice is primarily grown in the Mwea irrigation scheme, which is located in Kirinyaga County. But it is also cultivated in other parts of the country, including Ahero in Kisumu County and Bunyala in Busia County. Rice production in Kenya is faced by a myriad of challenges.
Tulikuwa tukilima basmati. Ikawa tuna challenge inatuchallenge sababu ilikuwa ikifujika sana. Tukipeleka Mwea inakataliwa kwa sababu ya hiyo challenge ya kufujika.
Zile tuko nazo wakati wa kiangazi. Wakati ya kiangazi maji inakuwa ni shinda. Haya, hiyo ingine ni flood. Mvua ikikuwa ni mingi, flood inakuwa inabeba mchere yote.
For millions of farmers across Africa, maize is more than just a crop. It is food, income, and a way of life. Yet every growing season, farmers face a serious challenge. Destructive insects such as stem borers and fall armyworm attack maize fields, causing heavy losses and leaving farmers with little to harvest. To control this pest, many farmers rely on pesticides, but pesticides are costly, often difficult to access, and pose health risk to humans while harming the environment. Even then, they do not always provide effective control. At the same time, Kenya's population is growing rapidly, from 56.
Kenya's long-term development agenda is anchored on food security, inclusive economic growth, and sustainable livelihoods. Under Kenya's Vision 2030, agriculture is identified as a key driver of economic transformation, employment creation, and rural development. To deliver this vision, the agricultural sector must be productive, market-oriented, climate resilient, and innovation-driven. The Agricultural Sector Transformation and Growth Strategy provides the national roadmap for transforming agriculture into a modern, competitive, and commercially oriented sector. It is implemented through 3 flagship areas: food security, private sector-led growth, and an enabling environment, all underpinned by research, innovation, and partnerships. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, Kalro, is a statutory institution of the Government of Kenya established under the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Act 2013. Kalro was formed to streamline, coordinate, and strengthen the national agricultural research system, ensuring that agricultural research directly supports the delivery of ASTGS and Vision 2030 priorities. Kalro operates through a structured governance framework comprising a board of management, a secretariat, and a national network of research institutes and research centers. The secretariat, led by the Director General and supported by Deputy Director Generals for Crops and Livestock Research, provides strategic oversight, while institutes and centers serve as the engine for research delivery across the country. Kalro has 16 research institutes that serve as centers of excellence, supported by research centers, sub-centers, and field stations across agroecological zones, ensuring adaptive testing, seed multiplication, livestock breeding, and farmer training at county and community levels. Under the food security flagship, Kalro has developed over 109 improved crop varieties, with 47 released for commercialization, including climate-smart and stress-tolerant varieties for staple and high-valued crops. Through its institutes and centers, Kalro has produced and availed over 69 million clean and disease-free planting materials and supplied more than 9,000 metric tons of basic and certified seeds, including maize, wheat, sorghum, beans, pulses, oilseeds, roots, and tubers. Kalro has developed integrated soil fertility management practices, climate-smart agronomic technologies, and over 100 crop protection innovations, including aflatoxin management solutions that improve food safety and reduce post-harvest losses. Thousands of soil, plant, and pest samples are analyzed annually, supporting evidence-based crop health management and productivity enhancement. In the livestock subsector, Kalro has developed dual-purpose cattle breeds, including improved Sahiwal and Boran, enhancing both milk and beef productivity. The organization has also developed and disseminated improved indigenous chicken strains, with over 1.7 million birds availed to farmers, alongside improved husbandry practices and livestock health technologies, including a thermostatable Newcastle disease vaccine, safeguarding poultry production that strengthen household nutrition and incomes. To support commercialization, Kalro has released 29 improved forage and grass varieties, developed 25 on-farm livestock feed rations, and generated technologies for value addition in crops and livestock products. These innovations reduce production costs, improve quality, and enable farmers and agribusinesses to meet market and regulatory standards, supporting private sector-led growth and job creation. Aligned with Vision's 2030 Science and Innovation Agenda, Kalro has developed and tested appropriate agricultural machinery and equipment suited to smallholder and commercial systems. The organization also supports the responsible application of biotechnology, accelerating crop and livestock improvement while providing scientific evidence to inform regulatory and policy decisions. Through climate-smart agriculture and sustainable natural resource management technologies, Kalro supports national climate action goals while strengthening resilience across farming systems. To ensure the uptake of innovations, Kalro disseminates research outputs through extension services, digital platforms, media partnerships, demonstration plots, field days, and kulima shops, bridging research and farmer adoption across counties. Kalro collaborates with the national and county governments, development partners, academia, and the private sector to scale research outputs and strengthening coordination in line with ASDGs implementation frameworks. Through its coordinated network of institutes and centers, Kalro delivers measurable outcomes such as enhanced food security, increased farmer incomes, expanded private sector participation, and a stronger enabling environment for agricultural transformation. Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, driving agriculture sector transformation and growth strategy flagship delivery through science, innovation, and partnerships for a food secure and prosperous Kenya.